Andy, always good to speak with you, Congressman. Good afternoon.
Well, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I think the country, the world is paying attention to this persecution of Donald Trump, and the House Freedom Caucus, of which I'm a member. I'm actually also on the board of directors of the Freedom Caucus. We made a decision that we wanted to go up there and, quite frankly, encourage other colleagues to start doing the same as well. So we were part of the genesis of having members of Congress go and support the president during the trial.
Obviously, a lot of your fellow congressmen and a lot of the members of the Freedom Caucus clearly are there. Give us just a sense of the experience. What was it like? I mean, just kind of walk us through. You got there, and what is the chaos like outside of the courtroom? Just give us an eyewitness testimony to what you did this morning, Andy.
Yeah, so last night, immediately after votes, we went to the train station, hopped on a train to New York. We got in about midnight. We went to a hotel where there was a domestic situation going on, so there's police everywhere. So that was kind of our introduction to the safe city that is New York. So we finally got into our rooms, and we got up at the crack of dawn and, went up to, we actually met with Donald Trump, President Trump, at Trump Tower, spent some time with him this morning. And from there, we jumped in the motorcade and went to the courthouse. It's a small, older courtroom. It's a little bit musty. No cell phones allowed, so it was kind of pretty much sequestered. But we sat in there with the trial with the president, and then afterwards we did that press gaggle, which is all over social media that you're seeing currently.
What was the takeaway from inside the courtroom? I mean, we've watched from afar. Go ahead.
Cohen's testimony isn't very credible. And, in my comments, literally their star witness is a convicted felon. Their other star witness is, and I don't mean to be crass, but, she was paid to have sex. I mean, that's the basis of their case.
Uh-oh. He just went away. Yeah, no, well, and Bell warned me on this, and I should have warned the listening audience, that Congressman Ogles is traveling back from Washington, D.C. on a train with some of his fellow congressmen. And because of that, they're going to be dead spots, and we can't help that. Cell phone technology is a wonderful thing in as much as it gives us the ability to have the conversation with the congressman on his way back. But with that, clearly comes the traps and travails of the cell phone as it might drop off from time to time. So we tried him back. Maybe he's going through a tunnel. Who knows? But we'll see if we can get him back. Obviously, the defense is working Michael Cohen over, demanding that he recall certain details, telephone conversations linking Trump to the Stormy Daniels deal. I think we've got Congressman Ogles back. And Congressman, I was just saying that cell phone technology is wonderful. It gives us the ability to speak with you while you're on a train back from New York to Washington, D.C., but it also kind of jumps out on time to time. But one way or the other, you were just describing the president's temperament and the mood of the courtroom and the testimony that you viewed with Michael Cohen. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. We went through a tunnel. It was a short tunnel, but it immediately killed the call. But the president was in great spirits this morning. He's ready to get on the campaign trail. He's ready to debate Biden anywhere, anytime, however many times he wants to do it. So he was very appreciative for members to be there and to show support. And he's under this gag order, which prevents him from kind of speaking his mind, which is why we're there to do it on his behalf. But then also, I have a piece of legislation that we just dropped. It's called Let Trump Speak. And what it does, it creates a prohibition on these types of political gag orders and actually creates a right of action so he can sue.
You mentioned that his demeanor is positive, his spirit is positive. It has to feel good to feel as if the prosecution has done nothing to demonstrate their case. I mean, Andy, you've been around a courtroom from time to time. You've lived the political life. What sense do you get? Does the prosecution seem to believe that they're doing a good job here? Do you get that sense as you sit in the courtroom?
Well, as I listened to the testimony, it was clear that Cohen was not a credible witness. And so I really think this is election interference. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but every minute they can keep Trump in trial, he's not on the campaign trail. So this is about the 2024 election. This is about a justice system in New York that does not like Donald Trump. They do not want him to be president of the United States, and they're doing their part to interfere in that process. I mean, it's on clear and plain display. If this were anyone else, this wouldn't have been a trial at all. It wouldn't have gone to court.
So Donald Trump has been talking about this throughout the trial. It's the biggest question that I'm getting asked on the membersnutrition.com super text line, Andy. So Congressman Ogles, I will ask you the question. Just how cold is it in the courtroom?
Well, so I'm in a suit and tie, so for me it was quite comfortable. But I could understand if you weren't, and of course it was packed as well, and so we're shoulder to shoulder. It was crowded, and that probably played a role in it as well. But it was kind of, it's rainy up here, so it was musty smelling. It kind of felt like it went back in time to an old court room, an old court case in history or something like that. But that being said, it wasn't cold today. That's not to say it hasn't been in the past.
You mentioned that the former president, talked about debates. I mean, he has to be excited that Joe Biden, in my opinion, I think it's a horrible mistake on the part of Joe Biden. I mean, maybe they calculate that they have to debate at some point, so better to get it over with. But it seems as if Donald Trump's willing to accept any conditions anywhere. I mean, he's really debating three people. If he debates Joe Biden in front of Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, he's really debating three people, not one. It's a 3-on-1 scenario, but he seems ready to go.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical. I mean, literally, the president said this morning, whenever, wherever, however often. I mean, because Trump he's smart, he's witty, he's quick on his feet. He's going to clean Joe Biden's clock. That's why Joe Biden, they put all of these kind of parameters and restrictions on the debates themselves. And they don't want an audience because Trump has a way of kind of, charming the audience and getting the audience engaged in the process. And so you're right. I'm skeptical that there will be more than one debate. I think that's why they're scheduling it in June. It's earlier than normal. And so that way, if Joe Biden has a disastrous performance, which is something I'll go ahead and predict, they have time to recover before the November election.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think anything that the former president can do to get Joe Biden on a stage for 90 minutes unaided, right? And that's the key to me. I predict that he's going to ask for something that you can't. I mean, I think they'll continue to ask for things to the point that Trump feels like he has to say no. I mean, that feels like the play to me, right? Andy, you've been around here. They just keep asking for more and more and more and more. And for me, the thing is just get him on a stage for 90 minutes with Donald Trump. And I think the American people will see the clear contrast in style, the contrast in ability, in mental acuity. And I think that's enough to push Donald Trump over the top.
Absolutely. And you're not trying to be cruel. I'm not trying to be cruel. But, Joe Biden is not in his prime. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. I literally talked to him at the State of the Union. And, again, I'm not trying to be mean or crass, but the lights were on and nobody was home. And it was shocking that this is the leader of the free world. And so, again, I can't imagine they're actually going to put Joe Biden on a stage with Donald Trump. Again, he was out late last night, Donald Trump, that is, campaigning, hit two different states, I do believe, last night, and yet he's up early in the morning prepping for trial. He had all the notes in front of him. He's talking to us. He's sharp. He's in a good mood. You could tell he got some rest. That's a big contrast to Joe Biden. And then you look at the facts themselves. You look at a southern border under Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. It was safer and more secure under Donald Trump. You look at the economy. It was better. It was robust. We were all better off under Donald Trump. Then you look at the global stage. The world is less safe today, whether you're talking about Europe or the Middle East or Africa or even in the Caribbean. The world is less safe today because of Joe Biden. And so you give that choice to the American people. If you're an independent, if you're a Republican, heck, I think if you're kind of a moderate Democrat, you've got to be looking at Joe Biden and say, my life is worse off today because of you.
As you and I know each other, Andy, you know that I lean pessimistic sometimes, and I fight against my pessimism. I fight against it. I don't want to be pessimistic about the future of the country. I want to believe that our better days are ahead of us. You talk about this all the time. Trump seems to be the optimistic warrior to the point that I think he means it. When he talks about going into New York City and winning over the people of New York City in terms of the election, when he brings 100,000 people out in New Jersey and says that he wants to win New Jersey, I mean, I don't know that that's possible, but I know that this president believes that he can do that if his message gets through the mainstream media, which is obviously against Donald Trump.
You know, the numbers, the sheer volume of people in New Jersey that turned out, that's startling. And that's not a Trump campaign number. That came from the mayor up there. And so when you have that many people, again, not Tennessee, not Alabama, not Georgia or Florida, but in New Jersey, 100,000 people to see and hear Donald Trump, that tells you what you and I know, is that people want a change. They want true hope and change, not Obama hope and change. They want Trump hope and change.
Well, Andy, thank you for making time with us on a train back from New York, back to D.C. or traveling back from New York City. Anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to add about the nature of the trial, the eyewitness? I mean, you were there up there with the Freedom Caucus. Anything else that struck you?
Well, again, you know, I said in my comments, it really is a joke of a trial. It fully demonstrates our two-tier justice system, which, again, whether you like Trump or dislike Trump, the fact that an individual, the district attorneys and a judge can be weaponized against a person, a former president, for Pete's sake, that means no one's safe. You're not safe, Matt. I'm not safe. Your listeners are no longer safe in this country, and we have to correct that. Our country, our Constitution, is based on this idea that the justice is blind and it treats everyone fairly. And today, in today's America, it does not.
Andy, thank you so much. Thanks for the good work in D.C. We'll talk again very soon. Take care.